Hello and welcome in to Addison, the 35th podcast, your Chicago baseball authority, brought to you by the great folks at Just Baseball Media Network. My name is Herb Lawrence. I am one of the hosts here on the Addison 35th podcast. I cover the White Sox here for Addison the 35th. Ryan Herrera covers the Chicago Cubs on his side. But today we will be recapping the Chicago White Sox weekend, the first weekend of the 2025 season, where the Chicago White Sox took on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and lost the series by the score of, well, they won one game and they lost two. But let's recap, and this is what we're going to be doing every Monday morning. You'll have a podcast into your feed, so go ahead and subscribe and tell a friend about the Addison the 35th podcast. You'll have a feed into your favorite podcast platform where I talk about what happened that weekend with the Chicago White Sox. As I said, this weekend they lost the series 2-3 to the Anaheim Angels, and it was started off great. Let's first, before I actually get into the series and what happened in the series, went to opening day myself and went to the Whiskey at Comiskey thrown by the fellas at Chicago Sports Bums. HBIC, Baloney, Johnny and Dougie, and others throw a great tailgate in Lot B. If you guys haven't been, go to Chicago Sports Bums right now. Find when they're going to do a Whiskey at Comiskey the next time and be there in Lot B because I guarantee you will not regret it. Free drinks, free firewater barbecue, great conversations with a lot of White Sox people that you might recognize from White Sox Twitter or just folks that are just good people. John Schriffen stopped by and has a great time. You can hear him talking about it all the time, and he's not lying. It's a great time. So, had an awesome time on Thursday. The weather was perfect pretty much all weekend long, except for today's taping this on Sunday. We had a rain delay for about almost 3 hours. So, otherwise, the weather was magnificent for this opening weekend. So, Thursday, the game, awesome. You get 3 home runs, starting off by Austin Slater, new right fielder. Then, second half, Benny Baum shows up in the first half of 2025, hits a home run. And then you get a late home run by Lenny Sosa, and the White Sox win that game on Thursday for opening day. And everybody's hyped up. It's 8-1. You crush the Angels. You show Yosei Kikuchi that this ain't going to be the same thing that he did last year for the Houston Astros. This is the new Chicago White Sox. You get the first win in Will Venable's first game as Chicago White Sox manager. They douse him with a bunch of liquids. It's fun. We're going to win this year. It's going to be different in 2025 than 2024. Everybody's excited. Then you come out on Saturday. 2 hits. Jose Soriano and Angels bullpen give up 2 hits to the Chicago White Sox. The only run scored in that game was a former White Sox great, Yoan Moncada, RBI single off of Mike Clevenger's body, and you get the 1-0 victory by the Anaheim Angels there. And then today, Sunday, you have a pretty tight game. You get a home run by Nick Maton. He's leading off, DHing. Then you get a couple more hits. I think you get a sac fly to drive in the second run. And some other things go wrong. The White Sox give up a solo home run in the top of the 8th inning, and then some execution things happen in the 9th inning, and they lose 3-2 to the Anaheim Angels. And so you go down 2-3 to this team who is no damn good. I know our White Sox are bad. We lost 121 games last year, but that Anaheim team is no damn good. Mike Trout might be done or often hurt. 2 White Sox play for them now with Tim Anderson, the shell of himself, and Yoan Moncada. And I'll get to their receptions as far as the fans a little bit later in the show, but that team is no good. They threw out some pitchers. I already talked about Yusei Kikuchi. Jose Soriano's good, not that good, to be only holding you to 2 hits. And then Kakanowitz, I'm saying his name may be wrong, but not that good either. I think he was one of the worst pitchers, if not the worst pitchers, as far as strikes per 9 innings in the major leagues last year. So They're not that good. That's the first three pitchers that they're throwing out there, and the White Sox lost 2 out of 3 to those people. So let me start with positives of this weekend. Of course, it's the starting pitchers. You have Sean Burke making his 5th ever start in major leagues go out and give you a quality start, 6 innings on Thursday. Then you have Jonathan Cannon go out and give you 5 innings. And I believe that his 24th start in his major league career. Solid as can be. And then today on Sunday, you give Davis Martin the ball. He gives up 2 unearned runs in his 26th career start, and he looks really sharp. I think his last pitch was versus Yoan Moncada. It's that kick change, made him look real silly, and he felt it. And he showed some emotion after he struck out Yoan Moncada, yelling, pumping the fist, getting off the mound, 6 innings strong, another quality start. So you got 2 out of 3 quality starts out of your starting pitchers, young starting pitchers. I mean, I know Davis Martin's a little older, a little longer in tooth. He's 28, I believe. But starting pitching was no problem. And if that's going to continue, I know they're not going to be giving up only 5 runs this whole year, but I mean, they gave up no runs. Those guys gave up no runs. Davis Martin gave up 2 unearned runs, and we'll get to that in a second. But if you're only going to give up 2 runs out of your starting pitchers out of a 3-game set, you should be winning the majority of those series. So I have no smoke for the starting pitchers. That was a positive. Another positive happened on Sunday, where Will Venable, his first weekend as a major league manager, was pretty solid. I didn't see anything where he put his players in a bad spot or a place where they couldn't succeed. Just players didn't execute sometimes. Like, he was pretty solid. Even in the 9th inning of Sunday's game, where people would traditionally, with runners on first and second, no outs, would be screaming for him or other managers to be bunting those guys over to second and third. But I'll tell you why Will Venable is a smart manager, and what he did in the 9th inning is much better than bunting. You'll hear me saying a phrase throughout this podcast that I said when I was on CHGO White Sox, when I was on Locked On Sox, when I was on 670 The Score. Process over results. What happened in the bottom of the 9th inning in Sunday? The result wasn't good. It wasn't favorable. But what Will Venable did there by not bunting, allowing his players to swing away, is the correct move, even though the result wasn't favorable. I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie Drumline. Dr. Lee, who is played by Orlando Jones, he says this kind of mantra. He says, "So what's the concept?" And then everybody in the band says, "One band, one sound." That's kind of what I'm going to be doing. Like, I don't want to keep on saying process over results. I'll just say, "So what's the concept?" when I'm referencing something like this. That's the concept, guys, especially in 2025, especially in 2026. But there's some cops coming to get me right now, but don't worry about that. That's the concept. It will always be, you do the right things. Yes, sometimes those right things won't work out, but you don't chase results. You chase process, because more than likely the results will come out of good processes. And that's what Will Venable did. He did not take the bat out of his players' hands. He did not, give a free out to the Anaheim Angels and a future Hall of Famer and Kenley Jansen, who was struggling at the time. Let's just go through that bottom of the 9th inning. You have Andrew Vaughn start off with a ringing double down the line. That's his first hit of the year. He's been hitting the ball really hard today and all weekend long. He finally got some luck, got that ball hit down the third base line, and got a double for himself to start off the inning. Then you get a 5-pitch walk by Kenley Jansen to Matt Thaiss, the catcher for the White Sox today. So first and second, nobody out. Like I said, regular managers, lesser managers, Pedro Grifol last year, would have called for a bunt. I'm glad he didn't. Firstly, because don't give up any outs. Secondly, it's Miguel Vargas who's coming up. And if Miguel Vargas is going to succeed with the White Sox, he's going to succeed by driving in runs, hitting the ball over the fence, and not sacrificing himself. And so, all I want from Miguel Vargas when your manager has the confidence in you to give you the swing away sign is to understand what's going on in the game, what just happened in front of you. Kenley just gave up a ringing double to Andrew Vaughn. Then he walks on 5 pitches Matt Thaiss. So he doesn't have it right now. He pitched yesterday. He's pitching again early in the season. You would think, okay, Kenley throws, I don't know the number, probably 90, 95% cutters. Up, down, in, out, but cutters mostly. He'll mix in a sinker every once in a while, but mostly they're cutters. So if I were a batter, and I'm not, I sucked freshman baseball, freshman B team baseball, and I never played organized baseball after that again. But if I were a batter, I'll be thinking, okay, this man doesn't have it today. So I'm going to be patient and allow him to get himself into an entanglement. Let him get himself into some troubles, because right now the advantage is with me and the pressure's on Kenley Jensen. So the last thing I'm going to do is swing at the first pitch, and that's exactly what Miguel Vargas does. Exactly what he does. Pops the ball up, infield fly roll. Timmy catches the ball, 1 out. Like, what are you doing? It's only so many times they're going to excuse you and say, oh, he's 25. You got to let him do this and that and the other. No, man. You got to come through right there. You're getting paid. It's not a big contract. You're still getting paid to drive in runs for this Chicago White Sox team. You got to execute, and especially when your manager has the faith in you not to have you sacrifice, but you got to have some, or you got to pay off that faith by doing something to move those runners up, even if it's a productive out where you're just hitting the ball the other way and you sacrifice yourself. The second baseman's just got to throw you out at first base. Something. Or you hit a sacrifice fly to right field where Andrew Vaughn can tag up and go to third base. But that was the last thing you could have done right there, is hit a weak fly ball to the shortstop for out number 1. Then you get up Brooks Baldwin. He ends the game by hitting into a 4-6-3 double play to end the game. And that is it. It's just so sad to see the execution not being there in the 9th inning when your manager gives you some faith, gives you some confidence. And I blame mostly that on Miguel Vargas. So that is a very frustrating thing to see, that they didn't get the job done there. But you know what's more frustrating is that through the weekend, 3 games, they only scored 10 runs. This is going to be a common theme. As I told you with this Angels team, they're not any damn good. And to only score 10 runs in 3 games versus this garbage outfit, it doesn't bode well at all for the White Sox. So other teams, as I will get to later, are coming to town. Other teams in your division, who 3 of them went to the playoffs, are coming to town, or you're going to out there. You're going to see the Twins. You're going to see the Guardians. You're going to see the Tigers. And I think you're going to see the Boston Red Sox. They're much better than the Anaheim Angels. And if this is the output you're going to have, 10 runs in 3 games, you're going to struggle. But you know what the most frustrating thing about this, and I'll get to the negatives right now. While the White Sox scored 10 runs this weekend, you know how much the Angels scored? Take a guess. If you didn't see a box score and you didn't see what happened this whole weekend, take a guess how many runs the Angels scored this weekend to win 2 out of 3 games versus the White Sox. Nope, not that one. Nope. 5 runs. Yeah, they scored 5 runs this whole weekend, and they won 2 out of 3 games. The White Sox doubled their run production of the Angels and lost 2 of those 3 games. Lost the game 1-0 on Saturday. And then today, lost the game 3-2. Scored 1 run in the opener. won 2 out of those 3 games. That team is no damn good. And I know in Anaheim and all the whatever the Locked On Angels and the sports talkers is like, man, yeah, look at Ron Washington gritting out a couple of victories out there in Chicago. No, that's a terrible team. They shouldn't be feeling good about themselves at all. The White Sox pretty much were the better team out of all these games and lost 2 out of 3. And I know wins and losses don't necessarily matter this year because they're going to be bad. But when you get double the runs that they get in the weekend and still lose 2 out of 3, that is just bad. That's just piss poor. And there's a reason why they're getting only 10 runs a game, because the lineups they keep on throwing out there. This weekend, you had Nick Maton or Maton, however you want to pronounce it. I hope I don't have to pronounce it much longer, because this journeyman player is really not that good. And he's not for the future. And that's what this year is about. Either you're going to be good at baseball and we can trade you for prospects, or you're young and you're ready to develop so you're ready for the future. He's neither of the two. And I know you're yelling at me. Herb, he hit that home run to lead off the game for the White Sox offense. Congratulations. That man has a weighted runs created plus in his career of 84. That is it. And he was playing DH in 2 of the 3 games for the White Sox. Coincidentally, 2 out of the 3 games, they scored their fewest runs. No runs on Saturday, 2 runs on Sunday. Is it a coincidence? Or having a designated hitter that can't hit that much kind of leads you to fewer runs? You know who they could have had up here at the major league level? Tim Elko, a guy who's a first baseman by trade. This weekend in Charlotte, what did he do? 1 home run, 4 RBI, had an OPS of 1.194. Or maybe one of the guys we got for Garrett Crochet in that trade, Kyle Teal, who hit 2 home runs this weekend, drove in 9, and had an OPS of 1.654. I mean, those 2 guys would have been much better than Nick Maton. And you're just playing this guy for and having him on the roster for I don't know what reason. Do you owe him a favor because he's an in-state guy? He went to Eastern Illinois. Like, why is he on the team? Especially when you have better options that are ready for major league play down at Charlotte. And then another reason why the White Sox lost, especially on Sunday, is because you have players, and if we're going to have players are on the team that are defensively based, the reason they're here is because they're glove, because they can't hit. You have a player in Jacob Amaya who's a below the Mendoza line hitter in his major league career with the White Sox, and I think he played for the Marlins. He does not hit at all. I think total, he has like 15 hits in his major league career, and like 14 have been singles. So if you're going to be that guy and on the major league team, when a ball is hit right to you in the first inning, the first player of the game, you have to catch that. That ball goes right through Jacob Amaya's wickets, and it's an error to start the game for Davis Martin. Like, you don't need that from a guy that's defense-only guy. And the reason he's on that team is to make that routine play, throw it to first base. And him and Brooks Baldwin were having troubles turning double plays all day long on Sunday and some on Saturday. So if you're going to be that guy that's a defense guy, you better be sparkling. You better be making every routine play, and he did not. You know who you could have up here instead? Another guy you traded for in the Garrett Crochet trade. His name? Chase Mydroff. What'd he do this weekend? Let's go and check the stats. All Chase Mydroff did today, well, let's find him up. I got to pull him up right now. Chase Mydroff last year in AAA, a full year with the Paw Sox, slash 293, was on base 437, and had a slugging percentage of 400. This weekend, he got on base 7 times, 3 hits, 4 walks, scored 5 times, and played stellar defense. If you're not following the Twitter account of Future Sox, you need to be doing that right now because they're showing all the great plays down there at Birmingham, at AAA, and of course they showed both of the single A levels too. But mostly, my focus will be on Birmingham with the 3 starting pitchers that they have down there and all the good hitters they have here at Charlotte. And so you're seeing these stellar plays. The man's ranging to his right, making diving catches, playing some great defense both at second base and at shortstop. And he knows how to handle the bat. He gets on base. He doesn't strike out that much. So he has the bat, he has the glove, he's in your plans for the future. Why isn't he up here instead of people like Jacob Amaya? Jacob Amaya is not for the White Sox future. He shouldn't even be for the White Sox present. And when I say all these things, folks, I'm not talking about the players. And I hope the family members and people who love these people don't take this personal. I'm just giving my opinion on the player. And maybe this player will prove me wrong. And I hope they do. Please. I hope they do. But their back of their baseball card says that they won't. And Chase Mydroff says that he will. And the only reason I can say that Chase Mydroff is not here at the major league level this year already is the White Sox are trying to do some service time manipulation. Because if we're doing meritocracy, and I know that's a very popular thing going on in the world right now, especially the United States, Chase Mydroff is better than any shortstop the White Sox are throwing out there on the major league club. He's better than most of the second basemen they can throw up there at the major league club. I mean, Lenny Sosa might have a argument there, but I would rather have Chase Mydroff doing what he does than having Jacob Amaya anywhere near the Chicago White Sox at all. So if it is a service time manipulation, I would hope you as a fan are not going along with it, even though it is more advantageous for the team to have 7 years of Chase Mydroff than 6 years. But that's neither here nor there. It's not your money. You don't have to spend it. And you shouldn't be rooting for Jerry Reinsdorf and Chris Getz to be getting an advantage on a player that has earned his spot on the major leagues. Like he had a whole year last year. I just read you stats in AAA. He's been ready. There's nothing in AAA that he needs to prove anymore. Not a damn thing. Same thing with Kyle Teal. He's proven all he needs to prove in the major leagues. If you want to have a designated hitter that is not Nick Maton, bring Kyle Teal up. If you want to keep your 2 catchers there, you're comfortable with Corey Lee and Matt Thaiss, smooth. At least bring Kyle Teal up to designated hit. Play somewhere in the outfield. Because that man does not belong in AAA. He has proven all he needs to do at AAA, that he is past that level. So him, Edgar Carroll hit this weekend too. Tim Elko, bring him up. Chase Mydroff, bring them all up. I think White Sox fans would like that a little bit more than the offensively struggled and challenged players that they have in the major league level right now. I would like that much more, to have young players who actually know how to handle the bat and develop at the major league level because they're already ready and they're past the AAA level. So I'm just mad that that's going on, and it better not be service time manipulation, because that on a 2025 White Sox is unacceptable. At any time, it's unacceptable. But on this team, giving at bats to Nick Maton and Jacob Amaya, just dumb. Shouldn't be doing it at all. Now, this weekend, we saw some things from White Sox fans that were positive, and one thing that I thought was negative. As I said before, Tim Anderson made his valiant return to the rate. I'm just going to call it Sox Park because they don't pay me. So made his valiant return to Sox Park and showed a video tribute of him. He was stepped out the box, tipped the cap, and they gave him an ovation. The fans gave him an ovation, which he deserved. What he's done as a White Sox was great. We all remember the Field of Dreams game, the walk-off home run there, his success during the playoffs in his White Sox career. Awesome. He deserved that. And I'm glad you White Sox fans gave him what he deserved. Now, on the other hand, very disappointed in White Sox fans for booing Yoan Moncada. Like, I am trying to figure out why White Sox fans do not like Yoan Moncada. Is it because he was injured? Like, he didn't injure himself. He wasn't trying to be injured. Like, his 2019 season was better than any season that Tim Anderson ever put up. So what's the difference between him and Tim Anderson? Like, what did he do? I don't remember him ever saying poor things about the White Sox, saying poor things about White Sox fans. He was just often hurt. Disappointing. But a lustful boo every time he came up to the plate as if he did something. You know, you should be booing Mike Clevenger on your own team. That guy is an actively bad guy, allegedly. Boo him. Don't boo Yoan Moncada, who I believe gave his all for the White Sox. And it just didn't work out. It's just disappointing. Do what you want if you want. I'm not going to teach you how to fan. I should apologize. I don't want to tell you how to fan. Fan how you want. I'm just disappointed in my fellow White Sox fan for booing a guy who I didn't think deserved to be booed this weekend at all. But let me move on because this week the White Sox will be hosting the Minnesota Twins, who went out there to St. Louis and got swept. And they're going to be coming up here a little hungry to get some victories. And tomorrow, well, Monday, if you're listening to this on Monday morning, hello. And I hope you're listening to this on your way to the Sox Park. I was going to say the rate again. Damn it. I hope you're listening to on your way to the rate. Damn it. I said it again. It's so hard. I hope you're listening to this on your way to Sox Park today. And you're ready for Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins ball. Let me give you the particulars of what's going on. On Monday, you'll have Chris Paddock, the sheriff, versus Martin Perez, making his Chicago White Sox debut as a starting pitcher. Then on Tuesday evening, the first game starts at 1:10 on Monday. Tuesday evening, it's the first night game of the year. 6:40 start, remember, 6:40 start for these games in March and April. 6:40 start. It'll be Simeon Woods Richardson on the bump for the Twins, and Shane Smith making his major league debut for the White Sox. So I'll be out there in the 108. Thanks to my guy Yumper. He's hooked me up with a ticket, and I was out here 2 of the 3 games this weekend. Electric atmosphere. If nothing else, folks, if you want to cheer on the White Sox and go to the game, there's nothing wrong with that because it is a fun atmosphere. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Both of the games I went Thursday and Saturday. Even though they lost on Saturday, it was an enjoyable time. And even though the White Sox only had 2 hits there. So I'll be out there on Tuesday night to watch Simeon Woods Richardson go against Shane Smith for Shane Smith's major league debut. And then a pretty solid pitching duel with Pablo Lopez, the Minnesota Twins ace, versus Sean Burke, making his second start for the White Sox this season and his 6th start overall in his major league career. So it's going to be a series for the White Sox to maybe get right because the Twins are reeling right now, 0-3, but also I'm sure the Twins are looking at the White Sox and say, all right, this is a get right series. We can take all 3 of these games because we struggled in St. Louis. We need to go and grab all 3 of these games and get our season right back onto track because the White Sox aren't as good as the White Sox aren't good at all because they lost 121 games. So this is what I'll be doing. You'll get a podcast on Monday morning, And then after the series during the week, so if it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series like it is going to be this week, I'll be doing a recap of that series Wednesday night and dropping the episode on Thursday morning for your consumption on your way to work. So thank you for joining me today on Addison the 35th. Get used to this type of schedule for White Sox content. Sunday, I'll be taping those programs. You'll have that into your Monday inbox. And then whatever that series in the middle of the week ends, whether it's a Wednesday end or a Thursday end, you'll have the recap of that series the next day for your commute. So my name is Herb Lawrence. Ecknerwall23 is the way you can follow me on Twitter. All the nonsense I'll have there, Twitter, Ecknerwall23, or you can follow me at herb.lawrence@bluesky.com. I forgot the app, but it's my name. It's Herb Lawrence on Blue Sky. I mostly do just trivia there and stuff like that. Eventually, I'll switch over to Blue Sky, but I got like 35,000 people at Twitter, so I feel like not abandoning all those people over there while still trying to be loyal to the folks over at Blue Sky too. So Actonwall23 is the way you find me on Twitter. I hope you guys have a great week. Let's watch some good baseball. And baseball is the best sport out there, even though our team is bad. Let's not let them hinder our enjoyment of this sport and the team that we love. Peace out.